and he and James Harden bumped heads. You know, there have been reports that Big Baby said he wasn't the greatest of teammates. Now, I need to get, somebody to hook up DeAndre Jordan and Blake Griffin and see what they have to say. And then that would be the confirmation.
I think Blake would say what you think he would say.
I think that would be the confirmation we need, Skip. But it's hard. I think, he's gotten a pass for the simple fact he is the Players Union president, head of the Players Association. And, and plus, he's like, he's so, look at Chris. He's like 6 foot tall in the Atlanta Giants, and he plays hard.
That's true.
But he's sneaky, he's dirty, and it's hard. I'm not going to disagree with Perk.
I agree with you. I think he's always gotten a pass because I don't think he's been just good as the president of the Players Association. I think he's been great.
Yes.
I think he's done great work for a long time, and it takes a lot of his time and energy to do that the right way.
Right.
So I'm going to give all that up to him. But he's borderline dirty, and he crosses the line into dirty on a regular basis.
Yeah.
It's hard for me to respect that. And then wherever he goes, he clashed with Blake Griffin, and then he really clashed with James Harden. He's difficult to play with and live with in a different way than Russell is. Russell's all about just, I'm going to run through the brick wall with the basketball, whether you like it or not.
Right.
But I think off the court, Russ is sweetheart.
Yeah.
I mean, by all accounts, the players just love playing with him, living with him. I don't think they love living with Chris.
Skip, the common denominator in New Orleans and L.A. and Houston has been one guy. James Harden was not in L.A. He was not in New Orleans.
No.
Some of these other guys were not at the locale that Chris Paul was. So at some point, something's going on that either he wants out or they're happy to oblige him and get him out.
You just said that better fit in Miami is Chris Paul and Jimmy Butler. Good luck with that.
For a team and he gets up out of there, no, it's all on him.
It's all
yeah. You can't. You can't go to 4 different destinations and talk about the food bad. Nah, bro, you got bad taste buds.
Yep, that is true.
No, I don't like it. I don't like it. Only thing I like about it is you got rid of Chris Paul in the deal. If you had Chris, Russ, and James, it's even worse. And I talked with 4 or 5 people around the NBA, executives, coaches, players, scouts, last night. They like it. They all think the Rockets got better. They think they'll be able to play more in transition, and the relationship between Russ and James will make it work. I'm sorry, how's it going to work? Last 5 years, they both led the league in usage rate. It worked with CP because he can catch and shoot. He was a 43% from catch and shoot. Russ can't shoot. I get it. It's sexy. It's relevant, but it's a Hail Mary. Now, they're going to be good. They're going to make the playoffs. Don't get me wrong. But this is not going to work. And people are saying, and people told me last night, they played together 7 years ago, which we all know. They were both so different. First of all, you had Kevin Durant there, okay, who is a buffer because he was so good and can shoot so well. Secondly, Harden was in his first 3 years, 10 points, 12 points, 17 points a game, coming off the bench.
17.
Yeah, but he was coming off the bench, and he would be the playmaker when he and Russ played together. So that sounds good, right? Here's the deal. The NBA was different. The three-point shot wasn't as prominent. So you could have a guy off the ball like a Russ who was a slasher, could score, but couldn't shoot. Just like Miami with D-Wade. If D-Wade had to play off the ball with LeBron in today's NBA, it'd be a problem. And so that everything has changed, not to mention the egos of each guy. I mean, they've both become historic, not great players in this generation, historic. Westbrook's historic with the triple-doubles. Harden's historic, mentioned in the same breath as Wilt Chamberlain and Michael Jordan because of what he's done. So, look, and I know they like each other, they're friends, but CP3 and James, Chris didn't just pick the Rockets out of a hat 2 years ago. He said he and James had been talking. They wanted to work together. And here's the thing, Skip.
Tell me when it's my turn.
This was a Hail Mary that was, it's arguable that the Rockets were the second best team in the league the last 2 years. 2 years ago, they had the Warriors beat, and Chris gets hurt. This year, they lose to the Warriors, who, when they were, even without KD, with Clay, we all think they would have beat Toronto. So I think it was a panic move. My first order, if I was Daryl Morey, my first course of action, because I guess, look, the relationship between James and Chris was so bad that they had to be.
I thought he said competitive. I thought competitive pop was good, Skip.
That's what they were saying. What I would have done if I'm Daryl Morey, I sit Chris and James down and I talk with both of them. Let's work this out. What's the issue? Then if it goes all right, I bring in D'Antoni. And let's see how we can tweak things. Because look, again, it's a Hail Mary. They're going to be relevant. They're going to be must-see TV. Look, Russ in Mike D'Antoni's offense by himself or with James off the ball as a spot-up shooter, Russ would be great in D'Antoni's offense. Coming downhill with shooters around him, which he never had in OKC, and he could pick the defense apart. But is James just going to be off the ball like that? So with James with the ball and Russ off, go ahead. I see you got your Rockets colors on, but I don't know.
Chris Broussard, could you repeat your opening statement about you talked to 4 or 5 NBA people last night, and what did they all say?
Like it. They liked it. They did like it.
That's what you do to me, right?
Yep.
They did like it.
They all liked it. Am I right?
I don't know if they were being nice or what, but they liked it. I'll give you that.
I didn't like it. I loved it. And I start with your opening salvo, which is addition by subtraction. We sat here days on end saying there is no way Daryl Morey will ever get out from under the wrong that was on his resume. He did it.
Right.
He can't fix what he broke because he gave this guy, for reasons I still can't understand, Chris Paul, he gave him a contract that calls for 38.5 this coming year, then it goes to 41.4 and 44.2. That's impossibly overpaid. That makes Chris Paul the most overpaid player in the NBA. For what he can give you right now, which is not that much, he became a shell of himself. He lost quickness, he lost lift, he lost Chris Paulness. I just couldn't see it last year. He could not help that team enough to where at the end of the year, I'm saying, I like Austin Rivers on the floor instead of Chris Paul. So to get out from under that, number one, was extraordinary. It's a coup. How do you do that? And you keep all the rest of the team intact. You lost nobody else. Is Capella still there? Yes. Is Eric Gordon? Is P.J. Tucker? Is Austin Rivers? Is Gerald Green and Daniel House? Yes, they're all still there. So the core is there. The nucleus is there. The togetherness is there. And now you take 2 guys who obviously don't fit when it comes to usage rate. But the key detail is they sought to reunite. They both wanted.
So didn't Chris and James?
Okay, well, I don't know about that.
They wanted Carmelo.
Yeah. Okay.
Last year, they wanted Carmelo.
Okay, well, they wanted Carmelo last year.
You know how players are. They all want to play with different. They not looking at.
And then when it goes sideways, they look at the break.
Right.
I never got the feeling that Chris and James were close before he came over.
They weren't like Russ and James.
Okay, so you have the extraordinary benefit of these 2 guys did grow up together, and then they grew apart, so to speak, in that they went their separate ways. But they spent 3 formative years together on the practice floor, in the locker room, on the team plane, going out. So they have a soul connection because they are both Southern California kids. We got number 2 and Paul George. We also have Russ and James. Are they not from right here?
Paul and Russ are the same way.
Okay.
How'd that work out?
Okay. What do you mean?
They
both from Southern Cal.
They're both from Southern California.
Okay. No, but my point is, it does. Remember,
Paul George. I mean.
Yeah, right. But they sort of they grew up together in the L.A. area because they're both from just south of the airport. So they have a connection from high school days. They're about a year apart. So now you've got that on their resume, and you do have the fact that beyond the usage rate, each of them has led this league in assists. Russell multiple times. He's done it the last 3 years. Russell has led the league in assists twice. James the previous year in 2017. So they have it in their psyche, in their makeup. They can distribute. It's hard to average double-digit assists if you're just all about cold-blooded gunnery, right?
No, they'll pass them, but some of that is related to the usage rate.
Okay.
You know, all assists are not created equal.
Okay. So what did they share? What common goal do they have right here, right now? What have
Ball
they got?
hogging.
Okay. They have both.
Title.
They have
I get it.
extraordinary achievements on the solo
Individual achievements.
They have it. They've been there and done all that. 3 straight years of triple doubles, an MVP, and an MVP for James, and a breakout offensive season that we all said just might.